Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Inside Battlefield. My name is Tom, also known as Stratford87 from the community team here at Battlefield. And with me today are the rest of the community team, Kevin Johnson, also known as Total FPS, and Christoph Gansler, also known as Ganslinger43. Very, very fancy name. So we've taken a short break with the podcast since last December, but we hope you all had a lovely holiday period and we're excited to be back today. We are recording remotely. So if you do notice some mic issues, that is the reason. And as for today's episode, Chris joined us late last year as a new member of the community team. So we thought it would be fun for all of us to get to know Chris and as well to talk more about what the community team does, like taking your feedback to improve games. But without further ado, before we dive into the discussion, welcome, Kevin and Chris. How is it going?
Hey,
hello.
Good to be here.
Yeah, very excited. As you said, Tom joined last year, so first podcast experience with you. I'm looking forward to it.
It's going to be awesome. It's going to be, oh my God, it's going to be so awesome. And Kev is as well. Like Kev, we've been working together for, quite a number of years, but we've never been on a podcast together. So
yeah, absolutely. And I definitely am aware that you've been wanting to drag me onto these. So I'm finally here. I've made it. Here we go.
So folks, me, Chris, Kev, we make up the Battlefield community team. And I'd love Kevin and Chris to give an intro about who you are, how long you've been with EA, etc.
Yeah.
What you've done.
For sure. Yeah. So as you said, joined late last year. It's already 2024, if you can imagine this. I've been here for 3 months, about, I think. But before that, I've been around quite a bit. So I've been in AAA gaming for about 14 years now. I started my work in gaming at Blizzard and then moved over to Ubisoft. Over the last 4 years, I worked with Ubisoft and then had the honor to join this team here. And been really excited to work on a Battlefield, on a brand like this, and with two cool people that I met here. So I'm really excited to be here and look forward to do more work with the community.
Awesome.
Aw, shucks, Chris.
This is your first official welcome, Chris. But no, it's been awesome having you on the team so far. You're from Germany, I'm from the Netherlands, so we're kind of neighbors. Also fun.
Yeah, actually, that's a good shout out as well. So I'm actually located in Toronto in Canada. So I'm working on the East Coast time zone. That will be helpful with some of the studios that we're working on with Battlefield, but also helps Kevin and Tom to be in bed on time and not have to stay up all late and talk to everybody who's on the Northern Hemisphere.
Even though we like doing that. But yeah, Kev, sorry. What about you? Hello. Hi.
Yeah. So hi, I'm Kevin, Total FPS, and I'm now part of the trio, I would say. And I've been with EA in some form or another for the past 13 years or so, on projects like Need for Speed, Medal of Honor, Star Wars Battlefront 2, and also lots of Battlefield throughout that time. Yeah, so whereas Chris is based in Canada and Tom is based in Stockholm, I'm based in the UK. So we all provide a little bit of a gap between each other and time zones to really respond to your community stuff.
Yep. So we have good coverage around the globe now, so we can always stay in touch with whatever all of you are chatting about, keeping you updated on what's going on with the game, etc. So let's talk a little bit about community management. So when we say that we are community managers, that can mean a lot of different things depending on which company you work for. So Kevin, Chris, can you tell us more about what it means to be a community manager for EA, but also specifically for Battlefield? What does your day-to-day look like? Let's start, for example, with player interaction.
Yeah, for sure. I start because I've obviously not had as much time with the community at Battlefield yet. But one thing that stands out for me is how the landscape has changed. If you talk about community managers, if you look back, only 10 years or so, it was mostly forums and you just basically replied there. And that was the only platform players were able to interact and share their fandom. And now it's Reddit, it's Discord, it's social media channels. We have events and a lot of different platforms that you just have to keep monitoring. And they require a lot of attention as well, because you want to make sure that you capture all the important topics and also have the finger on the pulse of the community. Where are they talking? What are they talking about? And there's so many different micro communities as well that you really need to be on top of it. And it helps that we're 3 people now and can take care of those kind of monitoring activations and also then use it for feedback, which we will talk about later on, I think.
What about you, Kev?
Yeah, I think that's a very valid point from Chris. It really has changed and isn't a case of just checking out community forums anymore for feedback, for example. I think that's what people know me most for, in that I really am taking a lot of time to take all of that in across a lot of our channels. I read a lot. I watch a lot of things that our community shares, from posts and videos and pings. And all of that, we try and translate as much as we can into actionable bits of feedback for our team.
Like everything we read goes back to the development team, and we chat about it with them
As much as possible. Like even just off-topic chatter that we really kind of like the look of, or just a random piece of fan art, we take it direct to the development team, and not just like in vague terms of development team. Like we do take it back to individual people and say, hey, have you checked this out? That sort of thing.
Also, man, both of you mentioned channels, but where can players find us? When we say community team, Battlefield, it's okay, where are we? Like, what can players see that we do? How do we speak with them, and where?
So a lot of that is through a lot what we would say are community platforms, and by that we mean Battlefield.com on X, which is at Battlefield.com, and we try and put out a lot of live service updates on there, as well as behind the scenes and work in progress stuff, and a look ahead of what's going on with some updates, and then we extend that across the likes of Reddit, Discord, our community forums, and also, just the old website,
EA or Battlefield.com.
Yeah.
Like patch
and
outs.
on top of that, we also have, our Inside Battlefield podcast, which we're on right now, as well as Spotify, and stuff like that as well.
So you can find the podcast. Well, if you're listening to, you probably know where, but it's on Spotify and YouTube. We do our live streams obviously on Twitch, but Kev, you mentioned for BF Comms, you mentioned live service updates. Can you clarify for players, what do we mean when we say live service updates?
Yeah, so that goes into like part of our day-to-day tasks. Really, is that we are ever connected to our development team, and whenever there is a significant issue that they're not happy with, or there is a balance change that needs to go out immediately, or we just need to remove something from the game temporarily to work on it, we formulate some messaging and communication around that and issue it out on Battlefield.com to basically relay to our players that, something is up, we're on it, have a little bit of patience, and we do thank you for that patience too, by the way. We'll get back onto it and fix it as soon as we can.
Okay. And so I think if you want to stay updated on like the right now, if anything is going on with the game, BF Comms or at Battlefield.com on X is the place to follow. Then a follow-up question for myself, Kevin. A lot of what we do is from like a business account like BF Battlefield.com on Twitter. Like we have the Battlefield account on Reddit, the Battlefield Twitch account. But we also just speak with players, for example, on Discord. So like how can players find you? How can they hang out with you and Chris and talk?
Yeah, it's a good question. Like you said, we are always on like Twitter, Reddit, and Discord, and sometimes you may see us like issuing out communication from our top level accounts like Battlefield.com, but we're also chatting behind, Total FPS or Ganslinger and stuff like that on those channels as well. We we do try to communicate as much as we can with what we're able to communicate with. Sometimes we may not have the full answers. Sometimes we may. But, that's also part of community management, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And to add to that, I think the brand accounts that we lovely call brand accounts, so everything that is Battlefield, those are really good to follow as well, because these are the channels that we use for the big high-level interaction in terms of patch notes and news and all these kind of things. So we also want to make sure that you don't have to follow all the community members on all platforms everywhere to get your information. We do try to be as precise as possible and put the information where you expect it. But as Kevin said, it's sometimes often very good. It oftentimes is also a thing that we want to do in terms of player interaction, where we want to reply to you directly and listen to your concerns, or also like your positive feedback. So you'll see us on these platforms, as Kevin said, on Reddit and Discord, just replying and interacting as well, because that is also our job, right? When we're reading it, we don't want you to feel you're just like yelling into the void. We're there and we're interacting with you.
And like you said, and I do feel like that is a very big part of community management, is that player interaction and engagement. I like we do try our absolute best to be there, be in the discussion with you, because it's important, and it's important for feedback. It's that you're naturally petitioning for.